Hey yo, what's good, y'all? What it do? Man, y'all know what it is. Y'all know who it is. Charger Conversations with your mans and them, your uncle. Hostile Takeover. So what we getting into? Well, before I drop the topic, I'm gonna give you a backstory on what inspired this video. So it was inspired by a conversation that I had on Facebook with a woman that I consider to be a friend. And no, I'm not going to drop her name. But there's a buzzword floating around. It's been around for a few years now, but it keeps gaining more and more traction. And it's being misused. And honestly, I think the whole thing needs to just disappear from the American lexicon. So I'm going to say this one time very clearly. Toxic masculinity does not exist. Yeah, the term exists. Yeah, people are using it. But in the sense that it's being used, in the way that it's being used, it doesn't exist. Masculinity isn't toxic. Lack of it is. Everything that you can possibly think of that is actually used that falls under this toxic masculinity umbrella isn't masculinity at all in any way, shape, or form. It's the lack of it. Pretty much any violation of a woman by a man is a lack of masculinity. Now that we have that out of the way, right? It's being misused. And it's being conveniently misused. Anytime a man is in his masculine and a woman doesn't like it, that phrase pops out. Especially when it comes to, say, something that a woman deems controlling in the moment. It's another buzzword used to basically nullify anything that women deem anytime a woman deems something that basically won't let her do whatever she wants to do in the moment. Right? So let's get that out of the way. Second, women don't get to define masculinity. If men don't get to define femininity, then women don't get to define masculinity. You know, because equality and shit. So, where did this term even come from? So, back in the 80s, I forgot what year, there was a guy named Shepard Bliss. He used it to define the masculinity his father exhibited that he didn't like. It was militaristic, it was authoritarian, and he coined the phrase toxic masculinity to define the masculinity that his father exhibited that he didn't agree with. Recurring theme, right? You don't agree with it, it's toxic. Whatever. So that's where the term came from. And all this is 100% verified. You can just look it up on Google. It's not that hard to find. But that's where the term came from. Then it got co-opted by so-called social scientists to mean a couple of different things. And lately, the last few years, it's taken on the current definition, if you want to call it that. Here's the thing with social sciences. It's not really science. Social scientists are people with sociology degrees who write editorials, basically. They're never, these findings, this research is never, I won't say never, hardly ever objectively peer reviewed. And it's taken as, if someone writes it, posts it on the internet, it's taken as law because they have a useless degree that doesn't pay shit. So, yeah. Social sciences have basically always been a joke. Social scientists were the same ones who thought that black people ran fast because we had an extra bone in our foot. Right? They're the same ones who thought black people were less intelligent because of genetics. Eugenics. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. Eugenics is a social science. Social science is almost always based on opinion rather than fact. So, fuck what a social scientist says. Because 90% of it is bullshit. Now, back to this term that needs to disappear permanently. It's always subjective, and it always depends on the person saying it and the situation that they're currently in. There's no real definition to it. Anytime you don't agree with a woman, it's toxic masculinity. Like, get the fuck out of here. And the person that I was in this conversation with I do believe they're a good person. And I do believe they mean well. Like I said, I consider them a friend. But part of being my friend is I'm going to let you know when you're basically on a bad one. And I call out the fallacies and the misinformation. So masculinity can't be toxic, because masculinity actually serves the greater good. It has a rightful place in society. And like I said, all this toxic shit is the lack of masculinity, which is why men refer to it as bitch ass, bitch made, whatever, because you're exhibiting the characteristics of a bitch. And that's not a dig at women. It's a dig at bitch ass men. Because women are supposed to act like women and men aren't. But you don't call it woman ass or woman made, because that's not much of a fucking insult. Now, is it? So you substitute the word woman for bitch, because it's supposed to cut deep. It's supposed to fucking make you uncomfortable as a man. It's supposed to piss you off as a man. That's why we call it bitch made. Not because women are bitches, because it's supposed to be a fucking insult. So if masculinity serves the greater good, and benefits everyone, then masculinity can't be toxic. By definition, it cannot be toxic. And anyone who says differently doesn't know what masculinity really is. And that's not even a negative thing. If you don't know, you don't know. Everybody can't know everything. Masculinity isn't controlling, it takes control. So right now, the masculine men need to take control of the word masculinity and what it means. Because as long as you call lack of masculinity toxic masculinity, then masculinity itself is in jeopardy. Now, again, if we don't control our own narrative, guys, then everything you do will eventually end up being linked to something negative, whether it's actually positive or not. You open yourself up for digs at your character, shots at your integrity. So take control of what's yours, and what's yours is your masculinity. Do not let people attack it. Because if you do, there will be no masculinity left to defend. What's funny though is, again, these same women will tell you that you don't get to define femininity, which is fine, cool, all right. You want to take control of that, fine. But you don't get to control both. Either men get to define one and women get to define the other, or nobody gets to define shit and everything is fluid and liquid and fucked up and it means what it means in the moment, but not next time or the time previous. It'll never, ever be a stable, clear definition, and we will never be able to separate ourselves from the simps and the suckers. All right? But I got shit to do, so I'm gonna leave you with that. And as always, middle fingers up, be safe, stay dangerous.